as we are having the shortage of time, so without wasting much of the time, I'll directly come to my topic. So the topic is actually utilizing geospatial information to implement sustainable development goals and monitor its process. So here I'm using two terms, that's sustainable development goals and geospatial information. So we'll talk about geospatial information a little later, but let us start with what are actually sustainable development goals. So what are sustainable development goals? So the sustainable development goals are known as the global goals, which were actually adopted by United Nations in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030 all people enjoy peace and prosperity. And there are around total 17 SDGs, as you can see here in this image. I am sure that most of you must be aware of the sustainable development goals, but let us quickly go through them one by one. So the reason behind that is that until unless you are not aware that what are these goals all about, then how can you analyze or how can you identify which technology can be used in order to the accomplishment of these goals? So the first SDG is actually no poverty. So eradicating poverty in all its forms remains one of the greatest challenges facing humanity. So the SDG are a bold commitment to finish what we started and end poverty in all forms and dimensions by 2030. Then the second SDG is actually zero hunger. The SDGs aim to end all forms of hunger and malnutrition by 2030, making sure that all people, especially children, have sufficient and nutritious food all year. This involves actually promoting sustainable agriculture, supporting small-scale farmers, and equal access to land, technology, and markets. The third SDG is good health and well-being. So good health is essential to sustainable development, and the 2030 agenda reflects the complexity and interconnectedness of the chip. It takes to account, or you can say that it takes into account widening economic and social inequalities, rapid urbanization, threats to the climate and the environment, the continuing burden of the infectious disease, and emerging challenges such as non-communicable diseases. But unfortunately, the world is a little off track to achieve the health-related SDGs. So progress has been uneven between as well as within the countries. The next SDG, that is SDG 4, is quality education. I think everyone will believe, will must be having the same belief as I am having, that achieving inclusive and quality education for all reaffirms the belief that education is one of the most powerful and proven vehicles for sustainable development. The next SDG, that is SDG 5, is gender equality. So ending all discriminations against women and girls is not only a basic human right, but it's crucial for sustainable future. And it's proven that empowering women and girls helps economic growth and development. The next SDG, that is SDG 6, is clean water and sanitation. So safe and affordable drinking water for all by 2030 requires we invest in educate infrastructure, provide sanitation facilities, and encourage hygiene. So protecting and restoring water-related ecosystem is essential. SDG 7, that is affordable and clean energy. So as the population continues to grow, so will the demand for cheap energy. So and economy, you can say the economy resilient on fossil fuel is creating a drastic change to our climate, and everyone is aware of. Then expanding infrastructure and upgrading technology to provide clean and more efficient energy uh, to, like, in all the countries. Now, I'm not talking about only India. In all the countries will encourage growth and healthy environment. The next SDG, SDG 8, is decent work and economic growth. The SDG promotes sustained economic growth, higher levels of productivity and technological innovation, encouraging entrepreneurship and job creation are key to this. As an effective measure to actually eradicate labor, slavery, and human trafficking. And with these targets in mind, the goal is to achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all women and men by 2030. Then the next SDG is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. That is SDG 9. So technological process is also key to finding lasting solutions to both economic and environmental challenges, such as providing new jobs and promoting energy efficiency, promoting sustainable industry, and investing in scientific research and innovation. So we all we should have different ways to facilitate sustainable development. Then SDG 10, that is reduce inequalities. Now here in SDG 10, inequality is in terms of income. Income inequalities requires global solution. This involves improving the regulation and monitoring of the financial markets and industries. Then coming to SDG 11. So we'll be talking about SDG 11 in little detail because our topic is mainly the use of geospatial in the attainment of SDG 11. So SDG 11 is actually sustainable cities and communities. The rapid growth of cities is actually a result of rising population and increasing migration. And it has led to a boom in mega cities, especially in the developing world. And slums are becoming a more significant features of urban life. Making cities sustainable means creating career and business opportunities, safe and affordable housing, and building resilient societies and economies. Now, it involves investment of public transport, creating green public spaces, and improving urban planning and management in, participatory and inclusive ways. Now, coming to the next SDG, that is SDG 12, that is responsible consumption and production. Now, achieving economic growth and sustainable development requires that we urgently reduce our ecological footprint by changing the ways we produce and consume goods and resources. The efficient management of our shared natural resources and the way we dispose of toxic waste and the pollutants are important target to achieve this goal. Encouraging industries, businesses, and consumers to recycle and recycle the waste or reduce the generation of the waste in equally important, and is supporting development, or you can say developing countries to move towards more sustainable pattern of consumption by 2030. So that's the main goal behind SDG 12. SDG 13 is actually climate action. So there is no country that is not experiencing the drastic effects on climate change. And greenhouse gas emission are more than 50% higher uh, than that was in the case of 1990. And global warming is causing long-lasting changes in our climate system, which threatens irreversible consequences if we do not act on it. Then coming to SDG 14, that is life below water. So the words ocean, if we talk about ocean, so their temperature, their chemistry, uh, the life in the ocean, the biodiversity of the ocean, that drive global system that makes the earth, or you can say the ocean makes the earth fit for human habitation. So how to manage this vital resource is also essential for humanity as a whole and to counterbalance the effect of your climate change. Then coming to the next SDG, SDG 15, that is life on Earth. So human life depends on Earth as much as the case of the oceans for our sustenance and for our livelihood. So urgent action need to be taken to reduce the loss of natural habitats and biodiversity, which are actually the part of our common heritage, and support a global food and water security. Then coming to SDG 16. SDG 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. So we cannot hope for a sustainable development without peace, stability, human rights, and effective governance. So the SDGs aim to significantly reduce all forms of violence and work with governments and communities to end conflict and insecurities. Then coming to SDG 17. SDG 17, that's the last SDG, partnership for the goals. So SDG can only be realized with strong global partnership and cooperation. Improving access to technology and knowledge is an important way to share ideas and foster innovation. So this was all about the 17 SDGs and their visions. Now coming to the term geospatial. What exactly geospatial means? So if I say in a layman language, because there are the people from several fields here today as a participant. So if I use a layman language to describe SDG, then that means the science of where. The science of where, location identification. So if you are gathering the information based on the location of any object on the earth, we call it as geospatial. Now before we actually discuss the application of geospatial technology in implementing SDGs, let me tell you about geospatial data services guidelines. So new geospatial data and services guidelines announced around noon on 15th of February 2021 seems to have casted a magical effect on the industry. By the evening of 15th itself, hashtags like map making simplified and freedom to map India were trending on the social media platform. And it seems that time for geospatial thinking has finally arrived in India. Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. So who knows better than us in geospatial field? Like all those who are in geospatial field, they can understand what I'm talking about. Monetizing geo data has always been fraught with hurdles. Uh, Given the restrictions and multi-ministry procedural hassles one had to go through to get approval for use of any location intelligence data in Indian scenario. Like if we talk in terms of Indian scenario, till now, before this new guidelines, it was not simple to access the geospatial data in India. And that was the reason that we are not able to explore the potential of this data in different fields. Now, after a long wait of over 2 decades, these guidelines are indeed revolutionary and path-breaking, if I may say. Being sector agnostic, geospatial technologies for long have played a vital role in growth of economies across the world, fostering much needed geospatial thinking. These reforms unveil a new era with the potential to open the floodgates of opportunities across the sectors. Now, these new guidelines will play a catalytic role in strengthening the geospatial infrastructure all around the country. Like faced by complex challenges, finally, the science of where, that is geospatial, becomes important more than ever before for understanding, managing, and analyzing different global issues. Be it economic sector like energy, infrastructure, agriculture, or a social sector like urban, rural, health, transport, public safety, or the environmental sector like climate. So all the stakeholders have a plentiful takeaway in the form of location-based solutions from these reforms and is expected to trigger a new wave of geo-enabled digital transformation in India. Now, geospatial information to implement sustainable development goals. So geospatial data can be used proficiently for implementing few SDGs as shown here in this figure to monitor the progress of every set goal. A bunch of quantifiable indicators, targets, and observe, or you can say the data explicit to every goal has been devised. Like in order to monitor the progress of SDG 1, there are some sort of indicators which have been devised. Now, this requires precise data observation at local community level and subsequent decisions which incorporate the coordinated effects of different stakeholders. So the United Nations has highlighted the issue of data quality and data collection capacity to identify, uh, or you can say to ideally quantify different indicators, and has emphasized on the requirement for a data revolution. I'm highlighting this term, data revolution, to upgrade the information quality. And geospatial technology is providing one of the most promising data source, which can be applied for monitoring progress in achieving different sustainable development goals. So I must say that it is one of the hottest technology out there right now, geospatial technology. So synoptic view and the repetitive coverage of the Earth's feature and phenomenon by different satellite is a powerful and promising technology development, or you can say in terms of geospatial technology. So now coming to this specific figure, for example, in case of SDG 1, that is no poverty. So how you can implement geospatial technology towards the attainment of SDG 1. So the visualization of indices generated from census data may indicate the spatio-temporal changes in poverty, and GIS-based poverty maps can be generated, which can act as a base for decision makers. Then SDG 2, that is zero hunger. So where we already discussed that it involves promoting sustainable agriculture. So with the help of satellite and UAVs which are commonly known as drones nowadays, we can collect high resolution geospatial data and can use them, or they can be used for agricultural yield estimation and forecasting. Smart agriculture, precision farming can be a revolutionary solution for implementing SDG 2. Then the new GIS innovation using spatial statistics for analyzing spatial distribution and patterns can be utilized for controlling diseases. So location intelligence technology can be used for locating the new, or you can say the nearby hospitals. Hence, one can efficiently use various geospatial techniques for the accomplishment of SDG 3, that is good health and well-being. Then SDG 6 addresses the issues related to clean water and sanitation. So it has several targets to be achieved by 2030, ranging from water resources to the hygiene of the people. So the application of geospatial technology like remote sensing and GIS promises to achieve each of these targets. Like one of the target is to achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all by 2030. Now, with respect to the same, several methodologies have been proposed to delineate groundwater potential zones, where integrating remote sensing and GIS and multi-criteria decision-making techniques are used to identify the potential groundwater zones. Using each of these techniques, groundwater map can be generated, and groundwater potential zone, like which area is good, which is moderate, which is poor, based on the groundwater potential index can be identified. So such kind of studies are very beneficial, especially in case of drought prone areas. Then the second major target of SDG 6 is to achieve access to educate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all, and end open defecation, paying special attention to the need of women, girls, and those in vulnerable situations. So open defecation is a very common sight in developing countries due to inaccessibility to infrastructure and facilities. So various information on land cover and infrastructure derived from satellite data can be used for geographical analysis in the planning of infrastructure development. Information like land cover derived from satellite imagery combined with land ownership, slope, soil type, uh, and other indicators in GIS can be used to design infrastructure facilities. Further, the development of remote sensing and GIS-based decision support systems allow assessment of water pollution, as well as generation of maps for planning and management of different water bodies. Now, I will keep SDG 11 for last, as we'll discuss it in detail. Now coming to SDG 13, how you can use geospatial technology for SDG 13. So for SDG 13, the effect of climate change can be seen in all the sectors, from well-being to the terrestrial ecosystem. I think everyone must agree in this case. So the key to understand our dynamic climate is creating a framework to take many different pieces, pieces of past and future data from a variety of sources and merge them together in a single system using GIS. So a particular technological measure which was specifically identified by national development targets and strategies of most countries all over the world is the use of remote sensing, particularly in climate monitoring and analysis. So I must say that almost all the countries are using geospatial approach towards the attainment of SDG 13 by applying it in various domains of climate action, including India. Even we are using remote sensing for climate change monitoring or with respect in different domains of the climate action. Now talking about SDG 14, that is life below water. So this goal addresses the sustainable use and conservation of ocean, seas, and marine resources. So this goal consists of several targets addressing marine pollution, protection of marine and the coastal ecosystem, then minimizing ocean acidification, regulating and managing fishing activities, prohibiting overfishing, then increasing economic benefit to the small island via the sustainable use of marine resources, developing research capacity, and implementing international laws which support sustainable utilization of marine resources. So geospatial techniques provide an enhanced interface to achieve these targets in numerous ways. Geospatial information can also be utilized efficiently for the attainment of SDG 15, that is life on land. Forest plays a major role in regulating the global carbon cycle at regional to the global scale. With the help of satellite data and GIS, forest cover can be quantified. Deforestation and forest degradation studies can be done. And recently, geospatial data is being utilized for the estimation of forest biomass and carbon sequestration by implementing various spatial modeling methods. Then, Sustainable Development Goal 11. So that is sustainable cities and communities. Now, let us discuss a little bit about SDG 11. So what are the major challenges which the cities are facing nowadays? So if I talk about more than half of the humanity, I'm talking worldwide, around billions of people, they live in cities, like around 4.2 billion people, they are living in cities. And today, and by the end of 2030, it is estimated that 6 out of 10 people will be city dwellers. Rapid urbanization is exerting pressure on fresh water supplies, or I may say that they are actually exerting pressure in almost all the natural resources. Our rapidly growing urban world is experiencing congestion, a lack of basic services, a shortage of adequate housing, and declining infrastructure. More than 30% of world's urban population lives in slums right now, which is a problem. Or I can use the term unsustainable urban sprawl. Then why it is important? Like cities are engine for sustainable development, and it is where ideas, commerce, culture, science, and productivity, it all thrives. Urban spaces offer opportunity for people to prosper economically and socially, but this is only possible in prosperous cities that can accommodate people in decent jobs and where land resources are not overwhelmed by growth. So, unplanned urban sprawl, unsustainable urban sprawl, as cities spill beyond their formal boundaries, can be detrimental to national developmental planning and to the global goals of sustainable development. Our urban areas are also emitters of greenhouse gases and contribute to global climate change. Half of the global urban population breathe air that is 2.5 times more polluted than standard deemed acceptable by the World Health Organization, as our fellow colleague Dr. Dhiren just explained. So, if I talk with respect to Indian context, India and the SDG 11, so India is actually urbanizing rapidly. Between 2001 and 2011, if we compare the census data, the country's urban population had increased by 91 million. So India is projected to add approximately 416 million urban dwellers between 2018 to 2050. And by 2030, India is expected to be home of 7 mega cities and populations like above 10 million approximately. So, 68% of our country's total population it lives in the rural areas, while 17% of the country's urban population live in slums. So, the government of India's smart city mission, the Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission, and the Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, that is AMRUT, are actually working to address the challenge of improving urban space. And the Prime Minister's Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana aims to achieve housing for all by 2022. So there is an urban sprawl and will be in future for sure. But the need is to have a sustainable urban sprawl. So utilizing geospatial information for attainment of sustainable development goal 11. So there has been accelerated progress made on global spatial data collection and processing because of the advancement in technology and computer science. Now, therefore, increased investment in technical applications are needed to expand on the process being made to integrate geospatial data into the global goal of implementing sustainable cities and human settlements. So the wider use of Earth observation technologies include satellite remote sensing, global mapping, geographic information system with respect to SDG 11 is to collect quality data on environmental impacts, land use, and land cover changes for sustainable urban planning and development of smart cities. Now, what are smart cities? Now, here I use the term smart cities, and you can see here that one of the application of geospatial technology is the development of smart cities. So there are many ways to define a smart city. In simple words, smart city is a developed urban area that creates sustainable economic development and high quality of life by excelling in multiple key areas like economy, environment, mobility, governance, people, and living conditions. So a smart city's core infrastructure is information and communication technology with a network of sensors, camera, wireless devices, and data centers. Smart city use sustainable material for building facilities and reduce energy consumption. Now, the indicators of a smart city may change with context. So, in the current Indian scenario, Indian socioeconomic conditions, the following indicators can be more relevant, like smart urban planning, healthy environment, green and smart buildings, smart utilities, etc. Now, if we talk about like today in detail, I'll be talking about there are so many factors which helps you in you know, you can say that development of the smart city, but we'll be commonly concentrating on the urban planning, how remote sensing can be one of the very powerful tool towards urban planning. All of the issues impacting sustainable development can be analyzed, mapped, discussed, and modeled within the geographic context. So let us see this with few case studies of some of the major cities of India who are facing the problem of unsustainable urban sprawl and slum formation. So the first case study here is of our capital, Delhi. So here you can see that the status of built up area of Delhi over the period of 2 decades from 2000 to 2020. The areas highlighted in red is the built up area, or you can say urban settlement area. So how evident is that the increase in the density of the settlement over the period of time? So Delhi and its surrounding regions have attracted large number of populations which have led to rapid transformation of its land use and cover pattern. Therefore, this case study aimed to analyze the change during 2000 to 2020, as well as the growth and the pattern of built-up surface in relation to population growth and migration of the people in Delhi. Now, this study was done to examine the spatio-temporal pattern of LULC change in Delhi using historical geospatial data. Now, this is one of the major advantage of remote sensing, that you can extract the historical data at any point of time, ever since the Earth observation satellites are there in this space. Now, coming to the next case study, that is again one of the metropolitan city, Mumbai. So in this image also, increase in the density of the urban settlement is quite evident over the period of 15 years from 2000 to 2015. Here also red color shows the built up area. Now cities like Mumbai, which are actually very densely populated since decades, may be through maps of such scale, you may not be able to see the increase in the urban built-up so clearly. So here comes one more advantage of GIS. Not only the visual maps, but you can calculate the exact area of each class of land use, land cover, along with the percentage increase or decrease over the period of time, as you can see here. So here the statistics of the land use land cover map is displayed in two forms. One is in the form of bar chart showing the percentage covered by each class over the study area at different time period. And you can see that the built up area covered the maximum part of the city in both the epochs, so 90 as well as 2050. However, from 90 till 2050, there is a significant increase in the built-up area also, which is also evident through the table, which is represented on my right-hand side. As you can see that 55.20% of the city was covered with built-up area in 1990, which was increased to 70.90% in 2050. So this is also one of the power of geospatial technology to provide the accurate quantitative analysis of the land use pattern, which is otherwise very difficult. So there is actually a rise in the informal settlement or slums in Mumbai, which is legally unjustifiable. The third case study is of Bangalore. Now, where you can see how gradually the urban built-up increased from 1973 till 2020. Urban built-up, which was around 7.97% of the built-up area in 1973, which was increased to 93.3% of the city in 2020. And the last case study is of Gautam Budh Nagar, which with this case study, we will talk about one more power of geospatial technology in urban planning, that is prediction and forecasting. So here in this image, you can see how gradually the urban settlement increased from 2001 to 2016. Now this is the area of Noida and Greater Noida. Now we know that there is an increase in the urban settlement. That is very much evident from these maps. But which class is converted into urban settlement? Like if I'm saying how much amount of agricultural land is converted into urban built-up over the period of time, or how much area of rural built-up is converted into urban built-up, or how much amount of wasteland is converted into urban built-up. So here again, a GIS is emerged as a powerful tool to calculate the conversion. So here in this slide, through a map and through table, you can see the conversion. As in the table, you can see that around 136 square kilometer of agricultural land was converted into urban built-up from 2001 to 2016. Similarly, 233 square kilometer of rural built-up was converted into urban settlement. Now, here in this slide, shows the simulated or the predicted map of the same area for the year 2031. Also, the statistics in the table here, we use the machine learning algorithm for prediction using geospatial data. The observation received from such kind of study based on the long-term classification of satellite data, statistical methods, and other geospatial techniques indicates that predicted land use land cover map of the area will be precious information for policy and decision makers for sustainable urban development and natural resource management in the area for food and water security. Whether collecting and analyzing satellite images or developing geopolitical policy, geography, your geospatial data provide the integrated approach necessarily for global collaboration and consensus decision making towards the achievement of sustainable development goal 11 for safe, resilient and sustainable cities. So in the end, I would like to conclude that geospatial data and techniques can be used very effectively for monitoring most of the sustainable development goals. But in some sustainable development goals, it can be used as a proxy data. So numerous investigations have uncovered that geospatial information is a viable tool to screen the SDGs accomplishment and progress to make effective future plans. Notwithstanding, it isn't completely applied in the monitoring and evaluation of global issues and targets till now. For the success of SDG, the monitoring process should be standardized for all countries with the cooperation of the scientific and political communities. Considering the broad range of SDGs target, geospatial information is one of the most important tools for monitoring their achievements. It will also pave the way for the successful accomplishment of SDGs. So in the end, I would like to end my presentation with a quote of Dr. Roger Tomlinson. He was the father of GIS. He said that I'm very positive about the future of GIS. It is the right technology at the right time. So thank you so much for patiently listening to my presentation. Over to you, Dr. Richa.